Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture.
And this is the news.
Yeah, the news. So, I don't know if there's going to be a cut there. Who cares?
No.
The first story of the day is quite a big one, I guess. Two rather unprominent WWE superstars, if we're being fair, have asked for their release from the company. That being Mike Kanellis and, unsurprisingly, Maria Kanellis. Supposedly, and this is all according to, who's this according to? Mike Johnson, PW Insider. No, Ryan Satin, Pro Wrestling Sheet. Good, professionals. Who claims that they have been very unhappy about their creative direction for quite a while now. And that a couple of weeks ago, they actually approached management and said, hey, we want to go. So, interesting thing here is that they moved to 205 Live a few months ago. You would think that theoretically that would improve their fortunes. It has not. Mike hasn't wrestled since the 5th of December, that episode. They haven't even done any house shows since then, so they've been off completely. Given that they asked for their releases and haven't been used, it looks very much like they're doing a Neville.
Yeah, I think it's probably best for the both of them, to be honest. I mean, they made...
What, to do a Neville?
When they first returned, everyone was very excited. Obviously, Mike has had his issues outside of the ring, and great to see the fact he's recovered from that, and WWE have supported him throughout that. But in terms of going forward, I think there's a lot more you can do with them. I think going elsewhere, they could be far more successful. Yes. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of what they could do with them as a duo, not just Mike with Maria sort of hanging off his arm. Yeah,
my first impression is that I will really miss that entrance theme. That was go and sing it. Actually, don't. X-Pac Heat. Obviously, like, when Mike was coming through, he got over in Ring of Honor as this kind of sports entertainment style guy in a serious wrestling company, and it was easy heat. So you'd have thought that he'd have been able to take that sports entertainment style to a company like WWE. Obviously, he was in Impact before WWE, and he'd fit in quite well, but they just really haven't found anything to do with him. He's been under contract since June 2017. Wow. He's kind of just accomplished nothing, really, and it's a real shame because you want to see people come in and prosper at their highest possible level. But I know they'll do really well wherever they land you if WWE let them go.
If there ever is a time in recent memory to leave WWE and go and be successful elsewhere, it's right now.
It's right now, and speaking of that.
Speaking of which, yes, big worries backstage according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com. WWE concerned that the Revival are going to be asking for their release soon. Very concerning that for WWE. It's something that's been on the cards. Oh, sorry, got a phone call here. Hello? Oh, sorry, 1 second. Right, I can... All right, thanks. Cheers, Shagger Dave. According to Shagger Dave Meltzer on the recently published Wrestling Observer, he has confirmed that they did ask for their release this week on Monday Night Raw, whilst still in their gear.
First of all, how do you have Shagger Dave's phone number?
I don't, he has mine.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Second of all, why? What? They asked for the release while standing there in their gear. So they went out, they beat up the Lucha House Party.
Beat the Lucha House Party, Grandma Legg's foot was on the ropes. But
one, whatever, and then went, oh, Vince, I know I'm in my pants and I'm all sweaty and stuff, but you know,
I just love that, walking back through the curtain and going, you know what, sod this.
Yeah, sod this is rubbish.
Look, we've talked about this for a long time about how poorly they've been utilised since moving up from NXT. I mean, yes, they've had injury issues, but... and Vince isn't a fan of that sort of thing, but it's so obvious how well they could do, and it's not happening. So I think this is probably best for all parties, whether or not WWE are going to allow it to happen, because it's fairly obvious where they might go.
Yeah, well, they absolutely won't release the Revival. I would be astonished if they do. Watch news breaking now as we're recording this that they have. I would be astonished if they do. They would be a big asset for AEW. We already know the Jacksons have come out and said that they want to push tag wrestling pretty hard. Them and the Revival have kind of been taking these little weird shots at each other kind of subversively through various platforms for like over a year now. The Revival, of course, had the hashtag FTR on their pants the other week. They make no secret of their unhappiness through social media, but why would Vince let them go? I mean, like, they're not an asset to WWE in their current form, but that's because of how they've been booked. We all know how good they are, and they could be major players.
Why don't they lean into this a little bit? Why don't they make them the sort of anti-establishment tag team? I think that could work really well. They're not going to, but in this new era of WWE, in theory, if they could use that, I think it would really work. But as it stands, my prediction, the return of Lucha House Rules next week on Monday Night Raw.
And they get jobbed in 10 seconds. I think we will see them sit out for a year, like Neville, perhaps, bugger off to AEW. But as things stand, Vince is not going to let them go. Speaking of AEW, AAW, that's in Chicago, AEW. We have some new words from the man himself, Mr. Cody, Forbes magazine's favourite wrestler. He has done an interview with Sports Entertainment Scoops earlier this week, in which he talked all kinds of things. He's talked about wrestlers using their own theme music, but most kind of notably of all, he claims that AEW, they're not going to hire any writers. Now, this is an interesting point because one of the common criticisms that come up when you talk about WWE creative and how stifled it is that there's this massive room with like 40 different writers. And Cody himself has said when he was there were 40, 50 writers and only 4 of them really did anything. Too many cooks, all that stuff. He says, in his words, the wrestlers are the writers. He wants guys to express their creativity. Obviously, him and the Young Bucks will be guiding things as executive vice presidents and producers and stuff. But this is really cool because there's a lot of worry about them being this WWE copycat, but they seem to be going out of their way to point out that they will not be doing things the same way as the big company. I'm all for this.
It's exciting to hear. I mean,
here we go.
I'm concerned that you do need some sort of leash on the wrestlers.
Yes.
And I think, like you say, there will be that. I'm very intrigued to see how Cody and the Bucks and people like that book themselves in AEW, whether they lean one way or another, whether they book themselves into oblivion or just put all the belts on themselves. I don't think that the latter is going to happen. But
because like every wrestler ever who has also been a booker has kind of just put themselves over.
I think what he's basically saying is we're not going to have any official writers, but you've got so many guys in and around that locker room, and even with just people that they've been speaking about recently about bringing him in, if they bring Goldust in,
Daniels, guys like that, BJ Whitmer,
they know enough. I think, yes, they're not going to have any official writers, but they will have a lot of creative control.
You'd think they'll have guiding hands and stuff, but I think the key point you made was that they just wanted to tap into what they did with All In, which was pretty much just him, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson, like a guiding hand, but not taking 2 hands on a roll, not detracting too much from the creativity.
Yeah, wrestling can sometimes overcomplicate itself, and hopefully they'll sort that out. Now, finally, news of a return to WWE. Your favourite tag team and mine, the Bludgeon Brothers, are apparently cleared to return to the ring. I think the last time we saw them was around sort of August time. So Eric Rowan and Luke Harper will be returning to the ring when WWE see fit. Here's a question: should they return as the Bludgeon Brothers, or should we see a return of the Wyatt family sans Braun Strowman?
I'm in the minority here, but I think the Wyatt family is a dead gimmick. I don't think there's any hope for ever reviving that. It was way too corny towards the end. We'd seen everything. They weren't a threat at all, particularly after John Cena beat the hell out of all of them at WrestleMania. I don't think there's any sense whatsoever in reviving that. However, the Bludgeon Brothers, while they were presented very strongly, they were champions, they were battering teams in like 4 or 5 minutes, they weren't exactly over on SmackDown. I feel like they almost have to do something new with this team, and they are a good team. Harper's great, Rowan plays his role, but I feel like they have to, sorry, that was a bit of a shot. They have to do something new. They can't go back to old material that objectively does not work.
Here's a thought. Yeah, I agree with that. Don't bring back the Wyatt family. Don't bring back the Bludgeon Brothers. Bring back Harper and Rowan as just 2 big bad bastards. That's simple. You just have people go, do you like tag team wrestling? Here's 2 guys who are going to flatten some of your favourite tag teams. Job done.
I've got it. New headbangers. Skirts, the nipple things they used to wear. What were those? Cones? Fluffy cones? Pants with poo on them?
Let's move on to your Twitter questions. You can tweet ours at WhatCultureWWE. Our first question today comes from Joel Henderson, who says, which brand, either Raw or SmackDown, should each NXT call-up go on?
Oi! EC3 screams Raw to me. Nikki Cross, Sanity are on SmackDown, therefore.
She's going to be on Raw.
Yeah. Let Nikki play. Who else is coming up? Heavy Machinery. They're kind of a banter tag team.
Both shows for me. As much Otis Dozovic as you can cram in.
Who else is coming up, brother?
Lacey Evans.
Lacey Evans. Ooh. That's a good shout. I kind of feel like perhaps the Raw division could use a few more mid-carders with the woman. So, but you could just throw her on SmackDown as well. She's got a very good character.
I think this all depends, especially with Lacey and Nikki, it all depends on what on earth they're going to do leading to and following WrestleMania with Becky and Charlotte. Because if they move them to Raw permanently, there's a big void on SmackDown.
Yeah.
If not, you can have one of them rule the roost on SmackDown, I think.
Lars,
Raw, the land of the giants.
Raw's interesting.
Completely wrong place for him to be putting him on SmackDown because
Yeah.
you've got all these fan favourites, and if you say Lars Sullivan is eventually going to have to face someone akin to an AJ Styles or a Daniel Bryan, it looks bad if you have him lose.
Yeah, but by the same token, maybe it would just give SmackDown a nice bit of variety. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Right, let's move on to the next question from Tom Wells, who says, if Finn Balor doesn't beat Brock at the Rumble, do you think he'll still be in the title picture for Mania? And if not, where does that leave him?
I do not think he will be in the title picture at Mania. In fact, I don't think he'll be in the title picture as soon as the Raw after the Royal Rumble. I think this is a cup of coffee in the main event scene, unfortunately, just looking at the way they've booked him throughout his career. And he's kind of there to just fill a gap, basically. Brock will beat him decisively, and Finn will go back to the mid-card. That's what I think. I don't want that to happen, by the way.
What I'd like to see, I'd like to see Finn shock everyone. This would be a phenomenal, exciting moment and would build intrigue if I anticipate the Men's Royal Rumble this year will main event the Royal Rumble.
Sure.
And I think if Finn beats Brock, it's far more wide open than if Brock wins and you assume Seth or someone akin to that, or Braun perhaps wins the Royal Rumble match. However, if he doesn't do that, I think he can still have a stellar showing against Brock at the Rumble, hopefully elevate his standing. And what I hope, in the interim, yes, I don't see him doing anything big towards Mania.
Yeah.
But what I hope is this is a slow build to elevating him, switching him onto SmackDown where he can really do some great work, and putting him in and around the WWE Championship title
SmackDown
picture.
really needs babyfaces.
Indeed.
As well.
Final question today comes from Blue Keeney, who says, do you think we'll get new unique sets for Raw and SmackDown once the new TV deal comes into effect?
I think Raw will stay the same. I think they will give a new SmackDown set. It's a new network. They apparently want a real sport feel. I think that would be cool, and I think it's almost certainly something they will do. Fox will want that show to stand out, and it can stand out just a little bit more with some new aesthetics.
And I have the perfect aesthetic, and they probably still have it knocking about somewhere back at Stamford or something like that. Hashtag bring back the fist. We all want to see that SmackDown fist back out, and you know, as much as people say, well, we're looking forward to the future, that's great. Tell me about some high flyers doing some stuff off the top of that, and tell me you don't want to see that.
I mean, if they want to break their necks, that sounds like a good idea to me, brother.
Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and we are staying on Twitter for today's and finally because Vince Russo has been tweeting, ladies and gentlemen. And I love me some Vince Russo craziness on Twitter. He tweeted this last night our time anyway, saying, this is his tweet, and Phil's going to put the picture up at the end of this tweet because I want to show you the photo right at the end that he tweeted this with. He said, I booked about 700 matches when in WCW. They were good. In 7 of those matches, just 7, you were allowed to use a flipping weapon if you grabbed it off a pole first. 1 out of every 100 matches. Pardon my French, F off. And then he tweeted this lovely photo to go along with it. Just, thanks for following me on Twitter. Have some of this. I don't know what caused that.
What is that logic?
He presumably saw some people having a go about stuff on a pole, and of course Judy Bagwell on a forklift.
Yeah.
So
we're not including that one. What
So he's
idiot.
moaning that, come on, only 1 out of every 100 matches that I booked had something on a pole.
It was only
weapon on a pole as well. It's not like a contract.
No.
On a pole.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So not
Exactly.
like Tank Abbott's recording contract on a pole, New Blood Rising.
Here's a question. Does the San Francisco 49ers match count as 4? Or... because that was some stellar booking there, Vince. What was it? A blow-up doll, a coal miner's glove, a picture of Scott Hall, and the World Heavyweight Championship, which was won by, I think, one of the announcers at ringside because it fell out of the box and you had to hand it to Booker T. Well done, Vince.
Yeah.
Straight back at you, mate.
I mean, if he'd booked no other pole matches, that would be very fine. But I'm sorry, sir. This is very much your legacy.
Look, it's like only 1 out of every 100 people died when coming to watch WCW. What's the issue here? Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comments section below. Don't forget you can tweet us, Twitter questions at WhatCultureWW. You can follow him on Twitter at
Andy H. Murray.
You can follow me at Adam Wilwell. You can follow Phil Chambers at PhilMyChambers on Twitter. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks to Andy, and we will see you soon.
Thanks, Russo.